What's up YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. Got a great video for you guys tonight. Doing a very exclusive build here on a orange 1M. Very rare chassis. It was made 1 year.
This video we wanted to make for a long time now, a couple months. We're putting the best of the best RB game finisher turbos on one of the best chassis that BMW ever made, 2011 1M. So this will be a big makeover and we'll see what she makes. So hopefully we're going to be shooting for what, maybe around 550, 600 wheel horsepower, something like that. So
yep.
We're going to be doing turbos, inlets, outlets, clutch, oil pan, rod bearings, intercooler, fuel pump, pretty much the big boy full bolt-on kit. So let's see how it goes.
Yeah, this is the right move.
Yeah.
For sure. As soon as you told me you were going single, I was like, oh, so
Hold
what
up.
are you doing with those old joints?
Yeah, exactly.
What are you doing with those?
Last season, just to give you a little bit of background, these twins did make 705 on port injection with E40 fueling in this 135.
Alright, so if you don't know what this brace is or how to get to this point, I'll be honest, you probably shouldn't be installing turbos. But this is the point that we're at. Really got started yesterday, so video's a little late, but we're just catching up. So this is an engine hoist. Subframe is basically completely loose. We just have the 4 big bolts in. Already removed 2 of them. Stock front inlet is removed. Intake system, lower charge pipe, metal charge pipe with the tie ball valve, all the plastics, all that stuff. So you should be able to take all that miscellaneous crap off pretty much without blinking an eye. So if you're comfortable doing that, the turbos should be no problem. So let's get the subframe removed, and then probably the next day we're going to remove the oil pan too. Take a look at the markings on the crankshaft, order up some bearings for this thing, and slowly but surely we'll get the turbos out by end of the week. Okay.
Got it?
Yep. Alright, so got the subframe off. It's right over there. Looks pretty clean. As I said, we're also doing the oil pan gasket. So I have the rack just kind of hanging out here right now. All the fluids drained from the power steering system. Got the oil draining out of the pan. So now we're removing the power steering pump. Just 3 bolts right to the oil pan. You have to take the slack off the serpentine belt with the tensioner and the little pin up top. So we're going to get the pump out, take the oil pan off, and see how the inside of the engine looks. It'll be a nice kind of health assessment, especially given the age and the mileage. But it was a full Texas car down south, meticulous maintenance records too, so we're keeping everything that way, and so far so good, nothing unexpected. So got the oil pan off, and again, this engine has 190,000 miles on it. All the gold right here, that's an excellent sign. If you ever see an engine with like really dark brownish, you know that the customer probably went pretty long intervals between oil changes. So this is a great start. This N54 is probably very healthy. This is the oil pump. This is the oil pump chain and sprocket. This here is the oil pickup tube, so that's where it sucks down in the bottom of the oil pan. This is basically just kind of like a windage tray, so when the crankshaft is spinning, all the oil kind of flows down underneath here, keeps everything separated. So this is the transmission side. You have the flywheel. We are doing a clutch on this car, single mesh flywheel with the IS 335 IS 550 clutch. So we're going to be putting that in there. And now we're going to rotate the engine over, and there's going to be some readings on the crankshaft. I believe it's like RRB, something like that. And that's how you order factory rod bearings for these. So we're going to be going with the Beamer World WPC treated bearings. It's basically an OEM bearing with a WPC treatment. If you look it up, it's basically peen shotting, almost like powder at the bearing, knocks off all the high edges, hardens it a little bit. So reason why we went with those, or we're going with those, is because you can follow the factory service manual, takes all the questions out of it. There's so much information out there, and we can go with Kings, we can go with all the other ones, all that stuff, but stock bearings work fine up to 700, 750 wheel, and we're not even going to be close to that. So we're just going with the Beamer World OEM bearings, factory rod bolts, straightforward, simple OEM, and we're going to get those ordered up, and so far so good. So downpipes are going to come off next, going to drain out all the coolant. And alright, so we have the bank 1 downpipe off. Bank 1 is always cylinders 1 through 3, bank 2 is cylinders 4, 5, 6. So we disconnected the O2s up top, and a nice little trick I like to do, just to help you kind of keep organized from bank 1 to bank 2, because you will throw faults if you swap sensors, is just put like a little zip tie around one sensor and then put another zip tie around the other connector, and it's straightforward. You can try doing the masking tape, writing with a Sharpie, and then oil gets everywhere and then it doesn't write. So I found this is the easiest method. So I have the other downpipe off right there, and I loosened up the V-band on the other one, so all the bolts are basically loose. And I'm gonna mess around with this guy, being a little tight. So we'll take this off, and then we'll jump to the next section of the video. And so we're going to start draining the coolant, get the water pump out. Once the water pumps out, then the turbos are just going to be a couple of bolts, and that's it. Here's the main working area. This is the part where everybody's like, oh, you can leave the subframe in, you can sneak them out. Like, yeah, sure you can, but like, look at all the room you have up in here. Just do yourself a favor, remove the subframe. Enjoy doing the job while you're here. Make everything like super meticulous. Go in there once and that's it. So I'm just going to give you a quick rundown of everything. These are basically the oil drains. You have one here, and then they just drain right into the oil pan. You have your wastegate here, and again, these things don't look half bad for 190,000 miles. So these are the wastegates. The other one is hidden up front. Coolant line. This is the turbo outlet there. This is goes from the water pump into the block, and then all the coolant basically goes up and cools everything. So we're also going to be upgrading all the wastegate lines, which is this little guy here. Do all the silicone lines, put little zip ties around the wastegates. Same thing, go in there, think overkill all the time. We're going to be doing the RB inlets, RB outlets. RB outlets will come up there pretty much. I believe it's like 1 and 1 3/4, I believe it is, to 2.5. That's going to go to a 7.5 race front mount intercooler. So so far pretty good. We're just going to remove a bunch of hardware. Make sure you stay organized on this part. You have so many of these small little bolts here, those guys, those little things, and they all have different depths, different heads, so it's nice to stay organized on it. But God forbid if you do ever get them mixed up, just go on realoem.com, look up the area that you're working in. It'll tell you the bolt, it'll tell you the length, and then the part number. Just Google the part number and you can kind of get back on track, but it's a little tedious. So we're just going to take our time with this part, stay organized, and we'll have the turbos out in the next cut. All right, so nose deep in this thing right now. Bank 1 turbo, nose deep? I don't know, hands deep.
I was just laughing at the hair. I'm laughing at the hair.
It's almost 10 p.m. on a Monday.
Is your name Ron?
Ron, yeah. So we're doing pretty good. So take a peek in here. I'll turn my little flashlight on. So have everything disconnected, all the lines, all that stuff is out. So we're gonna give this thing a quick little wiggle, and she should
Just a tug.
Just a tug. That's it. You know what? It's stuck on that little bracket up top. There it goes. Alright, so got that oil bolt connected in the middle, and everything's kind of loose, so here it comes. That's it. Little baby boy.
Alright, so is this a girl or a boy?
I don't know. Might be twins. Get it? Anyway. Bank 2 is coming out. So, don't forget the coolant line back here too.
Come to Papa.
One more bolt for the heat shield, and that's it. I can probably snake it out, but it'll make my life a little bit easier. So we'll remove that, and we'll be right back. Bolt removed for the heat shield. All the lines run behind them, so like this one here, kind of just left one, and we were able to sneak it out. This one we just removed both, so should be okay. That's it. Twin boy and twin girl. Anyway, what did we got those turbos out in, I don't know what, 2.5, almost 3 hours?
If that.
Something like that, but
Yeah.
subframe was basically removed, so everything came apart pretty easy. Turbo's look in pretty good shape. But very clean, so everything's off to a great start. We're gonna get everything cleaned up here and remove the rear turbo inlet. That's a little bit of a pain to do because we want to try to take it out in one piece. A lot of people end up cutting them, but we're not going to do that here. So we're going to lower the engine down a little bit from the top brace, get some extra clearance, and we'll do that next. Put the RB inlet back there, and then start the install. So doing pretty good, but we'll tackle that for another day. Your charge pipe is only
So now that these are out of the car, I just wanted to give you a comparison here. So these are his stock N54 turbos off of a 1M. 190k miles. They don't look too bad, honestly, for the mileage. But if you take a look at the turbine wheel right there, compared to the RB game finishers that are going in, I mean, it's a significant difference. So I just wanted to show you that.